Coming to you from the TheEoNProject Studios, overlooking the vast, pristine acreage of Primrose Village. Greetings from this hidden gem of the Blackstone Valley. You're listening to Experts of Nothing with Mike and Jay.
Hello there, Jay.
Hello. You know, I'm insulted this morning.
You're insulted?
You come in here early morning
We're starting off in a bad mood.
in the palatial TheEoNProject Studios, and the first thing you say to me is, you look puffy.
It's your face.
The hell does that mean?
Your face looks puffy to me.
Why?
I don't know. I just made an observation.
You know, it could be the mask that I wear. I wear a mask to sleep.
Is it like a William Shatner mask? Or?
No, it's like Bill Clinton. My wife likes Bill.
Oh.
And no, it's
Like
it's
one of those rubberized masks.
Yeah, I might have a latex allergy, perhaps.
It's a gimp mask. You know, just got to make sure that your zipper is open on the mouth part.
Oh.
So that you can breathe easier.
Yeah, I usually do because I put the ball in there.
You don't want to suffocate. It's easy to suffocate during a night of BDSM play.
Oh, what does that mean?
Bondage, domination, sadomasochism.
Is that what that means? Oh,
Yeah.
I always wondered that.
You didn't know what that meant? What'd you think it was?
Bright drinks smell much.
It's been a couple of weeks since our last show.
Oh, been a few.
You know what we are? We're not we work hard every day. Well, not every day.
Mm-hmm.
We work hard. We don't work hard very often.
No.
We do stuff sometimes to bring happiness and joy to your lives, but it's not on a regular schedule.
No, and here's the problem. You know, there's we are men of culture, as we've said before, and so we're constantly expanding our horizons in different areas.
Attending gala events, art dealings.
It's funny you mention that.
Auctions.
I'm in a. I've started taking oil painting classes.
Really? Mm-hmm. Is it like, are you painting nudes? Do you need a model?
It focuses
I would love to
on
do that.
the male nude. And we use extra slippery oils.
You're gonna need a really long canvas for me. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm glad to see that you're culturing yourself.
What do you think of tripods? You like a tripod? You know, like to put a camera on.
Oh,
and stuff?
sure.
Yeah.
I thought you meant something else.
You can manipulate the camera from a distance.
Well, here's what we're gonna do. Going forward, we're gonna start videotaping. Nobody says that anymore, do they? Do they say videotaping it anymore?
It's not taping, is it? You're not
No, I
taping
don't know.
anything.
I don't know what they call recording.
Record.
We're gonna start video recording our show, and then maybe put it on YouTube, because people desperately want to see our visages and see what we do during the show.
And it's gonna be there's gonna be a cosplay twist to it.
Yep. Sometimes we'll be anime. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we'll be superheroes and villains. Who's your favorite superhero?
Favorite superhero?
Yeah.
Like,
if you had to turn into a superhero today, who would you want to be?
Twizzler Man.
No, not one made up. You could have like one that's in existence.
Oh man. I mean, I really never really thought. Oh, you know what? I don't know. You're putting me on the spot. I haven't.
You know who I would be?
No.
Harley Quinn.
Ooh.
Because I would like to look at myself in the mirror doing things.
And you could manipulate your own bosoms and not get in trouble.
And not be in trouble. So that's if I had a wish, it would be Harley Quinn. But then you probably wouldn't like yourself all that much.
No.
Maybe I would. Okay. Anyway, so let's tease the topic. We're going to tease it like we did in the 80s. Tease the hair.
Tease it to the max.
So today, we're going to take a slight departure from what we normally talk about. We normally talk about kind of dark subjects, the unexplained and murders and paranormal events and demons and things of that sort.
Right.
Today, we are not going to do that. We're going to discuss something more lighthearted.
Ooh.
Today, we're going to talk about strange things in history that people did for fun and leisure. Mm-hmm. So we're going to talk about, go throughout the history to see what people did for fun and compare it to what we do today.
Kind of like BDSM.
Yeah. People used to do that for fun, too. They called it different things. So we're going to talk about that later. But before we get to that, I wanted to broach a subject with you.
Okay.
We have not discussed this ahead of time.
You ever wear a brooch?
Isn't it like a medallion?
It's like a thing you wear on your neck.
No, I don't have a brooch.
No? You should wear one. That should be your signature
I might start doing
article of clothing.
I bet Phyllis Diller wears a brooch. I don't know where that came from. So I wanted to ask you, so we just, yesterday was Halloween, just to give you a little bit of frame of reference. We're recording this on All Souls Day.
That's right.
November the 1st.
I did a little too much trick-or-treating last night. That's probably why I'm puffy.
Oh, what did you do? Wait, what kind of events did you partake in?
Public drunkenness.
Oh.
Basically.
Did you walk around with a flask while your kids were trick-or-treating?
I walked around I had a jacket. So I didn't really need a jacket because it was warm.
No, it was a warm evening.
But I needed a jacket with tons of pockets to put random beers in. And as I'm walking around the neighborhood.
See, it would be more efficient for you to take around liquor so that you don't have to bring as much.
So my gift to everyone along the trick-or-treating route was to leave my empty beer cans in their mailboxes. So when they go out today, they will find them.
Hopefully, they're not fingerprint analysis experts.
And
You're apprehended quickly.
the only problem is that as you go through the route and you're drinking beer, you have to go to the bathroom.
Did you really put them in people's mailboxes?
Yes.
That's awesome.
So you have to find random wooded areas to eliminate yourself.
So hopefully you weren't wearing like bright clothing.
No,
So
it was all black.
Okay, so you could disappear.
Blacked out.
Maybe peep in a window or two.
And I had my Bill Clinton mask on.
Anyway, so I wanted to ask you, being Halloween and everything, what do you think of the recent phenomena of extreme haunted houses? Now, let me give you a little bit of frame of reference when I say that. So we all know what the haunted attraction, haunted house culture probably started maybe 20, 30 years ago. Where, these little haunted houses would pop up around Halloween. They were generally harmless. You'd walk through and there would be some kind of scary things, people with store-bought masks and stuff.
Right.
You'd walk through and you'd be scared and you'd leave. Over the years, it's kind of evolved into more of a corporate-backed, where there's million-dollar haunted houses that have insane special effects and pneumatic equipment and all these things. But that's not even enough for the thrill seeker. So today, they have these things called extreme haunted houses, or regular haunted houses that have extreme nights, when you go and the actors can physically touch you, push you around, abuse you, kinda, and generally make your life suck for just a few minutes. And people pay a lot. They pay a lot of money for that.
Do you have to sign a waiver when you go in there?
As a matter of fact, you do. And I actually have a little bit of experience. I did work at one of these, and I'm not going to do it again. And here's why. So yes, you go into when you go into one of these extreme haunted nights, you have to sign a waiver that says, I promise not to sue the people. I understand that they're going to touch me and all this stuff. And then actually the one that I worked at, there was a police officer there at the front, and he would verbally admonish everyone that went in, you cannot press charges against anyone in here for what happens, which is pretty scary when you think about it.
Yeah. Because
who the hell are these people in there that are actors? I can tell you from firsthand knowledge, there's not a lot of screening that goes on when you try to work at a haunted house. There's not really an interview process for most of them. I've worked in a few, and what you do is you basically they basically hire anybody who's willing to work those nights, and it's kind of a crapshoot as to who you get in there.
So here's a question for you. So if you're an actor in one of these places, do you? I mean, you have to anticipate possibly getting punched in the face, too.
Yeah, I mean, as a haunt actor, you know that if you get too close. I mean, I've acted in haunted houses for probably 15 years. I've never been punched in the face, and that's because I don't get that close enough to people. I mean, you do get close to people, but you can kind of judge someone's behavior before you size them up real quick before you scare them. But yeah, I mean, and it's not always their fault. Sometimes people, it's an automatic nervous reaction that you put your hands up. Sometimes they just swing at you. I've been swung at, but I've never been hit, which is good. But no, the point of me explaining all this is some of these people who work in the haunted house industry on extreme nights are only there because they like to abuse people. And you can see it in their face. And I've witnessed it firsthand. These people that, that's what they want to do. They want to grab people and move them around and abuse them and stuff. And to me, that's weird.
Right.
That's a deviant person. So once you know that that's in there, I wouldn't want my kids or my wife to go in there. Would you?
No. And you know what though? Like I think it adds to the just to psychoanalyze the person that works in these places. They themselves enjoy seeing the reaction of people.
Well, scaring people is fun.
Get off on it.
Scaring people is fun. I don't get off on it. Scaring people is fun, but like hurting people is not. And if you get somebody who thinks hurting people is fun, then they probably shouldn't be interacting with the public.
Right.
Because who knows what they're doing? There's no controls in there. No one's watching to make sure that they're not doing something inappropriate.
Right.
I don't know. The whole thing is skeevy to me, and I'm not a big fan of the extreme nights. And then what kind of person pays $40 or $50 to go in and get abused? Well, why would you want to do that?
It's just the it's why people go see horror movies. You know what I mean? It's just a natural,
but that's different.
Fear reaction. People enjoy.
You watch a scary movie, it's fine. You pay $50 to have somebody groping you. Well, I do that, but that's different for different reasons.
I went back and watched The Exorcist again.
I saw The Exorcist again recently too.
It's still creepy as hell.
Yes, very creepy.
Very, very creepy.
And very blasphemous too.
Ooh, very.
There was parts that were edited out, and if you ever get to see an unedited version, there's a lot of.
There's a part with a crucifix.
Yes,
not good.
Not good.
All right, you want to get into the topic?
Why, you don't like this?
Well, I don't want to keep people stringed along for too long. Does that make sense?
Stringed along for too long? No, I like to think that people tune in because they like to hear us talking.
On time, all the time.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about what weird things people did in history to have fun.
So do you have a time frame on yours?
I do.
Okay.
So I'm going to talk about early history, and then you're going to talk about later history.
Right.
That's basically it in a nutshell. So let me go first. So throughout history, mankind has sought to escape the serious nature of our everyday routines in order to enjoy some well-deserved leisure time. Is it leisure or leisure?
It's leisure.
Leisure time. As the millennia have passed, we as a species have evolved, and so have our leisure and fun habits. So today we're going to talk about some of the weirder pastimes and leisure activities that people have engaged in throughout history. So when humans first began congregating in clusters and forming small societies, there wasn't much opportunity for fun and leisure. Most of their time was spent hunting, gathering, painting cool rock paintings, conversing with ancient aliens, and most likely running away from things like large predators. While they weren't the most fun-loving folks, the fact that early humans had to be so mobile to avoid being eaten and whatnot, this actually paved the way for some modern-day leisure activities. One in specific that I'm going to talk about, and that's running. Do you enjoy running?
I've never enjoyed running.
Me neither.
And there were times in my life where I was forced to do it.
Well, you know, as most of our listeners know, we both served in the United States Marine Corps, which is their favorite hobby is running for some reason. So we did a lot of running. But many people think that human beings were not meant to run, skeletally and physically, that the human body was not built for running. And that's actually simply not true. Human beings are actually well-equipped physically to endure not only short sprinting to escape danger, but are also naturally adept at running long distances, which early man did to relocate in search of food and delicious wild berries and all sorts of fun
Little nuts and things.
So basically, that's how human beings spread around the globe, was running. So, and I'm not going to get into the physiological nature of it, but I did some reading, and the human body is built to run. It's designed to run, and as many, you probably have seen the recent resurgence in the last several years of barefoot running, because shoes are actually counterintuitive to running. Humans are more efficient running barefoot.
I don't like to have bare feet ever,
No, I know that you don't like bare feet.
especially in public.
No. Would you run barefoot through the streets?
No.
No, but you know what? The Kenyan guys, Kenyans are good runners for some reason. And they run on, not paved roads. So they run on the ground, like the dirt and the grass and stuff like that.
You know what I even do when I go to like public like pools? Like
I was going to say, what about like when you go to like a water park? Or
No, I wear shoes.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No.
I wear a specially designed water sneaker.
You know who does that? Toddlers.
No.
Why are you wearing water
No,
sneakers?
they're adult sized.
Why would you do that?
I don't want things on my feet.
What are you talking about?
I don't like
You
things.
can't go in a pool?
No.
Why can't you go in a pool without shoes?
You ever see people's feet walking around
What
the
the
pool?
hell is wrong with you?
The skirting of the pool? There's people's
skirting
feet.
of the pool.
The wet tile on your feet. You can't. It's got all kinds of bacteria.
No,
and things on
I
it.
can't believe you walk around with shoes on like you're a little baby.
Yes. Just
what's
my
wrong
swim
with
trunks and some shoes. That's it.
Shoes. What about when you go to a lake?
I
I
wear
know
shoes.
you're an avid boater.
I wear lake shoes.
So you wear, you wear lake shoes?
Yes. You can't go into a body of water without something on you protecting your feet.
Why not?
What
What do you think's going to happen?
You walk around all day long with shoes on, don't you? Why wouldn't you wear them in the water?
Because I'm walking around on pavement and rocks and debris.
Yes, and if you go in the lake, there's rocks and dirt and slimy things and all kinds of stuff.
You got some problems, dude. Do you wear shoes to bed? Do you wear socks to bed?
I wear shoes in the shower.
No, you don't.
No, I don't.
I was going to say in your own home. That would be bad. All right, we're not going to go that far. Anyway, so that ancient man didn't have a lot of fun things to do, so they did a lot of running. Let's move forward, shall we?
Let's move.
Let's talk about the Egyptians for a moment. You like the Egyptians, the ancient Egyptians?
I enjoy Egypt.
They did a lot of things. I used to be used to be fun to do some research on the Egyptians. They were into a lot of cool stuff. But here's a fun fact for you that you probably didn't know. Both boys and girls went naked from the time they were born until the age of puberty. So that probably made running around a lot more awkward, especially for those ancient Egyptians who maybe developed a little earlier than most. Appendages and things flapping about in the breeze as they ran. Can you imagine that in our culture today? Boys and girls, up until, when's puberty, like 13, 14, 12?
And nowadays,
12?
the young ladies are developing much earlier.
So little girls and boys from 10 to 11 years old wandering around naked.
No, not cool.
That doesn't sound like that would be good at all. Egyptians were big into board games, and depictions of them playing these games date back to 2500 BC. Although the rules for the games have never been adequately explained. Who needs rules? Do you look at the rules when you play board games?
Actually, I just bought a board game recently. The Game of Life. Do you remember that game?
I love the game. Well, my son loves the Game of Life. We play it.
So we played it. I bought it for my children and myself, and we had fun. And I drank whiskey while we played. And I had
to pattern with you.
I had to read the instructions because it's complicated.
Why do you have to read the instructions? You don't know how to play Life. You don't remember that one?
We can't just start playing.
Well,
if you
let
don't
me
know
ask you
how to
this:
play
you
it.
play Monopoly, right?
Yeah.
Do you read the rules?
Well, no, because I've already learned
You
how to
already
play it.
Okay. Well, if you know the rules so well, do you do free money for free parking? Do you put money in the middle for free parking?
You have to.
No, that's actually against the rules.
What's against the rules?
You don't put money in there. Free parking is nothing. It's a free space. You're not supposed to get any money for it.
Oh, I never heard of that.
That's because you didn't read the freaking rules.
You told me not to.
Anyway, sports are also big in ancient Egypt, with the normal array of sports like boxing, javelin, field hockey type thingies, and whatnot. But what I found was interesting was, amongst Egyptian men, especially those in the higher classes, they enjoyed watching women's sports, such as gymnastics and rowing, of all things. Here we have an account from the Westcar Papyrus, dated to the Second Intermediate Period, which would have been 1782 to 1570 BCE, which we all know means before the Common Era. Here's the story of Senefru and the Green Jewel.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. In this tale, the king is feeling despondent, and his chief scribe suggests that he go boating on the lake, saying, quote, "Equip yourself a boat with all the beauties who are in your palace chamber. The heart of your majesty shall be refreshed at the sight of their rowing as they row up and down." What do you think of that?
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah. The king does as suggested and commands that 20 women, the most beautiful in form, with firm breasts and hair well braided, be brought forth, and spending the afternoon with them, the heart of his majesty was pleased at the sight of their rowing. It's good to be the king.
Ooh, yeah.
What do you think of that?
I like the breast part.
Yeah? Well, if you could go, I will pick the 20 most beautiful women with the firm braided breasts and
How do you braid
put
breasts?
them on my boat and have them row.
Pharaohs could
Row for my pleasure.
Pharaohs could get away with anything, I
They could
think.
really do whatever they wanted.
Oh.
All right, so that's it on the Egyptians. They had some fun stuff to do.
You know what's funny? I have an Egyptian-related one, too, that I'm going to get to later.
Oh, okay. Let's move forward to the Greeks. You like the Greeks?
Fast forward to the Greeks.
Fast forward to those Greeks. I'm not going to get too far into the Greeks because it's been done to death. Everybody knows that the Greeks invented the Olympics. But one fun, strange thing that I did find was a strange Olympic event that did not survive to the present day. I'm going to talk about that. Mm-hmm. It was called the Hoplitodromos, in which a bunch of dudes put on all the armor that they could possibly hold and took off running in a big mass of flailing arms, tripping people, and probably pretty cool things flying off from people. And they would run to see who could win the race to the other.
So it was a combative road race?
Yes, combative road race. In another version of the same thing, this was actually cooler. They would do the same thing. They would get all the armor on and they would jump on horses. But halfway through the race, all the men would jump off the horses, and then they would race the horses to the finish line, wearing all their armor. I bet you some people got jacked up during this event.
That sounds like it.
Imagine putting on all that heavy armor and going running.
Sounds dangerous.
Probably wouldn't make it that far.
You know what's a phenomenon that has taken over the country recently? And there's a bunch of them out there. It's these Spartan race things.
Oh, yeah, Spartan race. Yeah.
Can't stand it. Can't stand it.
Why? People try to better themselves.
No.
No, they're not doing that?
No, because I hate to get into this,
I don't think you do.
But so they pay this money. They run these ridiculous races,
Obstacle
and
courses
somehow
and
they
stuff.
think that there's some sort of elite
They're a warrior
tier
now.
1 operator.
Yes, they are.
Right? It's like, no. I mean, we got forced to do it back in the day. We were forced to do these things.
Sure.
It's not something you do for fun.
No, I hated obstacle courses.
They were awful.
Every one of them. And you know what? Some of them you run and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that.
Oh.
But we didn't do it for fun. Like you said, we were kind of forced to do it. But that's part of, of anything. Sometimes, especially when it comes to military things, people pay a lot of money to do what you got to do and got paid to do.
They could have just joined for free.
Yeah, could join for free and get to do it like as part of your job. But no, a lot of people are not hard enough to do that. So we're going to move forward. Fast forward from the Greeks now.
How far are we going now?
We're going to go to the Middle Ages.
Ooh.
You like the Middle Ages? I like the Middle Ages.
I love the Middle Ages.
Yes, I want to all talk like this. In the Middle Ages, it seemed like what kind of fun you had depended largely on your social status, which, that's kind of true of every period of history. While the rich folk held banquets, tournaments, and partied all night, the common folk really had more important things to worry about, like dying of the plague or starving to death, things like that, kind of important things. But still, they made time for some fun activities, including festivals and a lot of drinking. they spent a lot of time drunk in the Middle Ages. One of the fun activities that drunk peasants came up with was something called village ball. Here we go. There was no field, and the number of players was basically whoever showed up, which could mean hundreds of people on each side at one time. Whole towns would take part. And the goal was to kick the ball, which was really a blown-up pig's bladder, to the other village's church before they could get it to yours. So this meant that the goals could be miles apart. So there wasn't any other rules than that. You just got to get the ball. You got to get the pig's bladder from your church to the other church.
Okay.
And that meant, and there was no rules. And violence was absolutely part and parcel to the game. Injuries and even deaths were expected.
So you could carry a stick
you could hit
whilst kicking the bladder
hit
around.
the other people. Village ball sounds like a lot of fun for drunken peasants. They didn't have much else to do.
What was that game that we used to play? I think it was a Nintendo game, maybe, where you
Drunken peasant village ball.
Yeah. You're riding a bike, I think, or a motorcycle. You get to whack the other person with a stick.
Road rage.
Is that what it was?
Road rash. Road rage.
Road rash?
Something like that. Yeah, I remember what you're talking about. Also middle-aged fun. Here's one for you. It's this is for really poor people. It's called the stick pulling game.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Yeah. This was a common hobby in Europe during the Middle Ages. And there's two variants of the stick pulling game. Basically, number one, a wooden stick served as a barrier between participants. Victory was declared when one of the contestants managed to make the other one bend their knees. So you gotta you gotta struggle.
So you pull the stick until a person's knees
until
bend.
their knees buckled, and then you win. And another version, you have to pull your opponent over a horizontal board between them, and the one who manages to do that first wins. That's for people who got nothing but a stick.
Yeah.
So you know what? Next time my kids go, I'm bored, I have nothing to do, I'm gonna teach them the stick pulling game. And then I will have EMS on standby.
You have to be cautious how you describe that game nowadays. Otherwise,
that is true.
Child Protective Services will come.
May get arrested. Anyway.
You know what looks hard but fun?
What?
Log rolling. I've always wanted to try that. You need a special shoe for that.
I don't think I could even get up onto the log.
You couldn't balance on the log,
no.
you think? No?
It's round and it's in the water.
Yeah.
How do you do that? How do you get on?
They get on. They get on, they spin it.
So is that what you do? Like you have to spin it one way and the other idiot's trying to spin it the other way?
You're trying to get the other person off the log.
So you gotta okay. I don't know if log rolling would be working. At least if you fall, you're not going to get hurt. You're just falling into the
you
water.
can smash your face on a hard piece of wood.
Man, you don't know what's floating around in lakes these days.
That's right. But you wear your shoes.
We're gonna fast forward now again on our trip through history, looking at leisure activities for people, different leisure fun times. And we're going to go to one of my favorite periods of history, colonial America. Everybody loves colonial America, right?
Sure.
Everyone has seen the colonial era kids running along, hitting a wooden hoop with a stick and rolling it down the dirt road. You ever seen that?
Yeah.
You can actually do that like when you go to some of these living history places like Sturbridge Village or Colonial Williamsburg or whatever.
It's called hoop rolling.
Hoop rolling, and I've done it, and it's actually not as easy as it looks.
It's not easy?
No, you got to like hit this hoop and you got to run next to it.
Do you hit the hoop? Like, how do you hit the...
You hit it with a little stick.
On like the top of the hoop?
Yeah,
Okay.
or on the inside or whatever.
Oh, on the inside.
But then sometimes it'll hit a pebble or something and then veer directions rapidly, and you got to chase after it.
I see.
It's not as easy as it looks. But they didn't have a lot of fun things to do in colonial America. But, pardon me, they had some fun stuff. They played cards, they played board games and all sorts of stuff. But one of the most prevalent things that colonial Americans, at least the adults, did for fun was drink. Mm-hmm. They drank a lot every single day. They thought that there were all sorts of health benefits associated with drinking alcohol, so that they thought they were getting healthier and stronger by drinking. Mm-hmm. So it was encouraged, for people to drink an awful lot. Americans they were obsessed with drinking, and it became so prevalent that their tolerances were all sky high, and it took a lot for them to get drunk. Just like Andre the Giant. You ever see that documentary, Andre the Giant?
Yeah, that's a good one.
When I think he drank like 127 beers once in order to get. He couldn't get drunk. His tolerance.
I always love the picture of his hand holding the can of beer.
Yes. It looks like a little thimble.
Yes.
In his hand, in his giant paw.
I can only imagine what the ladies thought of him.
Yeah. Anyway, so a typical colonial American daily drinking schedule would look like this. Ready? Here's what you would do if you were a typical colonial American. Upon waking up, you'd drink between a half to 1 pint of rum. That's a lot of rum.
That's your breakfast rum.
Yeah, breakfast rum. Rum was everywhere because the British actually had colonies in the Caribbean where they made the rum. So the stuff was cheap and it was therefore everywhere. Mm-hmm. Everybody had rum. Then you'd go to work in your fields for a while. Let's say you were a farmer, right?
Yep.
You're going to go work in your fields for a while. At lunchtime, you'd come back to your little hovel and you'd enjoy several glasses of whiskey with your food. I'm sure that working in the field becomes a lot more fun after you drink a bunch of whiskey, or maybe not.
Yeah, it's a good thing they didn't have actual like machinery that like a combine that you get caught in.
Yeah.
That'd be a problem.
Yeah. So after you had a bunch of glasses of whiskey with your lunch, you'd go back to work and you stop every once in a while for some more whiskey, as it was a working man's drink. If it was in season, you might have hard cider instead. I'm not a big fan of the hard cider. It's okay.
That's all right. You can't drink too many of them though.
Well,
It's
they could.
You get the heartburn.
The colonial Americans could drink a lot, man. And so you work in the field all day. You've had your whiskey and your cider and your rum and everything else. Now you come to dinner time. So you'd often eat at a tavern, and you'd have several glasses of ale with your food, which would be like beer. You're a big fan of... I like the Sam Adams ale.
Do you?
Yeah.
Just the straight
I'm
regular...
not a really big ale fan, but it's pretty good. It's not bad. So then you would have that with your dinner. And then you'd go home. When you got home, you would have a nightcap consisting of fortified wine. You ever have fortified wine?
What the hell does that mean?
Like spiced wine, like
Oh,
mulled.
I thought you meant like fortified with like vitamins.
No,
that'd
like
be good.
mulled, like a thick wine that's really alcoholic.
No, never had that.
It's like port wine.
Oh.
You would have that. Like
I've had
fortified.
port wine.
Yes, you have.
I've had boxed wine. I've had jug wine. I like the jug wine. That's my new thing now. I go get a
Carlo Rossi.
giant jug of wine for like $12.
There's no hangovers there.
Nope, perfect.
No. So anyway, so you're home, you have your nightcap of your fortified wine, and then maybe you would have sex with your wife, who probably looked a lot better after literally a long day of drinking.
Takes you a while to get through the breeches and the hoops and the corsets and all that.
Yeah. So they did this 365 days a year. That would be like a normal. That would not be out of the ordinary. That drinking schedule that I just gave you. But there would be way more drinking on special occasions, such as weddings, births, religious festivals, and of course public executions, which everybody loved those back in the day. So. A lot of drinking taking place, probably not the best for you. And that may be part of the reason why people died when they were 30 back in the day. So I'm going to end up now, my last part of colonial America, fun leisure activities. A very popular fun leisure activity, which takes place till today, was sex. Sex of all kinds. Sex was so popular that the authorities had to step in and regulate it in colonial America.
Really?
Yes. Outlawed were masturbation, fornication, adultery, sodomy, buggery, and every other sexual practice.
Buggery?
Listen, every other sexual practice that inched off the line of straight sex is approved by the Bible. Now, the term sodomy was applied to, obviously, homosexual behavior, and the term buggery meant bestiality. So if you ever hear buggery...
Oh, like having fun with the sheep?
Yes.
Okay.
So punishment for such serious sexual crimes could be severe. One Thomas Granger of Plymouth, a boy of 17, was indicted in 1642 for buggery with, quote, a mare, a cow, 2 goats, 5 sheep, 2 calves, and a turkey. Granger was hung. The animals, for their part in the affair, were executed.
Oh,
according to the law. No, Leviticus 20:15.
They must have burned them.
Where it says, they were cast into a great and large pit that was digged for the purpose for them, and no use was made of any part of them. So they were soiled. After one Thomas Granger got done buggering all of those animals.
Oh my gosh! So a friend of mine had a sheep, and he was carrying the sheep under his arm, and he walked into his house, and he said, and his wife was home, and he said, "I've been sleeping with this cow for 20 years." And the wife goes, "That's the sheep." He goes, "No, I was talking to the sheep."
So lots of fun things throughout colonial America that people did. I enjoyed the buggery part. My favorite.
You know,
my favorite.
it's funny.
I wonder how they got. Wait a minute.
Yes.
Before we continue, how did the authorities know? Did they interview the turkey and the calves? And
they must have.
How did somebody see him having sex
They
with
must
all
have
those
been
animals?
Caught in the act.
With all of them? Maybe it was an orgy. It was an animal orgy.
It was an animal orgy.
In
You go
the
from
barn.
one to another. But the thing, and that just makes a broader point, and that is, the government has always tried to regulate and outlaw stuff when we know it does nothing, right? So people
Well,
are
having
still.
sex with animals is probably not the best thing.
Well, no. I'm not saying it's right to do that. I'm just saying people are going to, regardless of the
defending
law,
buggery.
regardless of the law, people are going to do what the hell they want to do anyway.
True. That's true.
They don't care about the consequences. Because
Well, I
if
don't
they
know
did, otherwise there wouldn't be any crime.
Again, I don't understand how you can outlaw certain types of sex because who's seeing this?
That's right.
Who's complaining?
Listen, when I get all lubed and slathered and
Coat
lathered
yourself
up in the
in
shower,
peanut butter.
is my own business. Thank you.
That's true. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so what do you got?
So we're at the halfway point of the show, per usual, on the Eon Project, and today we have a special surprise. I'm not telling you anything about what it is, and it's just going to happen.
Here we go.
baby's Babylon, they looking for excuses. Game for the buzzer who kicked it to the losers. Lame as a brain, could be golly gee. If you see a shrink, he'll charge you a fee. If you see me, you see the fee is nothing. Fee will be for patience, all that's no frontin'. What is a party if it doesn't really rock? What is a poet, all balls, no. What is a war if it doesn't have a general? What's Channel 9 if it doesn't have a Arsenio? What is life if you don't have fun? What is a what if you ain't got a gun? What's Ali without Shaheed Muhammad? Nothing. Compelka makes you vomit. What is a quest if the players ain't willing? What is a pence if you don't have a shilling? Excuse me if I'm chillin', hey, what say what? What's a fat man without food in his gut? What's a childbirth without the umbilical? What's United Parcel without the deliverer? What's Mama San without Papa San? What's martial art without Daniel's son? What's Rashid without Tanya Tamika? What's Orange Juice and Dougie Dog without Shaniqua? Nada, 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 not a damn thing. What's Duke Ellington without that swing? What's Alex Haley if he doesn't have roots? What's a weekend if you ain't knocking boots? What's a black nation without black unity? What is a child who doesn't know puberty? What is my label when I exit boom status? What's menage a trois? Or that is, what is sex when you have three people? What are laws if they ain't fair and equal? What's Clark Kent without a telephone booth? What is a liquor if it ain't 80 proof? What are the youth if they ain't rebelling? What's Ralph Crandon if he ain't yelling at Ed Norton? What is coke snorting? What is his position if there is no contorting? What is hip-hop if it doesn't have violence? Chill for a minute, Dougie Fresh said silence. Oh, well, what'd you think of that?
I don't know. It defies explanation.
You can't even come to words.
Nope.
You ever heard of something called the Pauly exclusion principle?
Is it about Pauly from Rocky?
Pauly Shore.
Oh, Pauly Shore. No,
He's not allowed in any parties.
I never liked Pauly Shore.
No, I never thought he was funny either.
Never thought he was funny.
Whatever happened to that guy, by the way?
Everyone realized he wasn't funny. You know, every once in a while that happens. Somebody will become really famous for a while.
Yep.
And then usually it's a comedian of some kind. And then everyone all of a sudden realizes that they're not funny anymore, like Amy Schumer.
Oh, never funny.
Anyway.
She steals people's jokes. Anyway.
I heard that.
So the Pauly exclusion principle is the quantum mechanical principle, which states that two or more identical fermions
What's a fermion?
cannot occupy the same quantum state within a quantum system simultaneously.
I think fermions were the hot toy for Christmas in like 2014.
So let me relate that to something that you may understand, and that was in the movie Time Cop.
What are you trying to say?
Remember in Time Cop when they were
I
traveling?
love Time Cop. What was that? Mia Sara, who I had a huge crush on since the
Yes.
Ferris Bueller days.
That's right.
Was in Time Cop. Gorgeous woman.
And, of course, Jean-Claude Van Damme, the tremendous actor.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Belgian actor.
You know what? He was in a lot of movies back in the day, man. More movies than I remember.
Do you know what he made his very first screen appearance in?
I think it was a gay porno, wasn't it?
No, it was in the movie Breakin'.
What?
It was in the movie Breakin', and there was a scene where they were doing an outdoor
Breakin',
dance.
not Breakin' to Electric Boogaloo?
Nope, the original Breakin'. If you go, you can go look it up on YouTube.
Okay.
And he's standing in the crowd as they're breakdancing. There's like a circle that forms.
Yes.
And Van Damme is on the perimeter of this crowd.
How do you know this?
It's well known.
You didn't spot him there.
Yeah.
You know what? I remember he played the Russian bad guy in a movie called No Retreat, No Surrender.
That's right.
Where he was like a kickboxer.
That was another early screen appearance.
Yeah, but
by
he
him.
actually had like lines in that movie. Mm-hmm. Which as a world famous actor, I can tell you that nothing counts until you have a line in a movie.
Oh.
Because then you start becoming eligible for the union and then getting residuals and all this stuff.
So anyway, the point of that is this Pauly exclusion
Oh yeah, we're
principle.
going back to the time cop.
That's right. So you couldn't, if you came face to face with your double from a different time, you couldn't be in the same spot at the same time. If you touched each other, you would disintegrate. But anyway,
Who thought of this? Pauly Shore?
Mr. Pauly.
Pauly Walnuts from The Sopranos?
So let's fast forward to the latest show that I've been watching on Amazon Prime.
Uh-oh.
It's called The Man in the High Castle.
Ah, that's the one. It's the alternative history one, correct?
Oh, it's more than that though.
Oh, I haven't watched it. So
It's more than that.
Is it good?
It is good.
You're recommending it.
And so I'll just give you a quick rundown of it. I won't ruin anything for you.
Okay.
So it's basically what would happen if Germany and Japan had won World War II instead of the United States.
Okay.
And so it fast forwards to the early 60s, I believe.
So the Germans and the Japanese are still in charge of America.
They're occupying America. So the Japanese has basically the west coast, or I should say west of the Rockies.
Oh, they separated the country.
And there's a neutral zone in the Rocky Mountains.
Well, who owns the neutral zone?
Nobody. It's a neutral.
What happens if you line up in the neutral zone?
Right?
It's a 5-yard penalty.
You get a flag. And so east of that would be the American Reich, they call it.
Ooh.
And so it's an alternative history show. But interestingly, they add a science fiction twist to it. Oh. Because as we know, harkening back to earlier programs when we talked about the Nazi bell.
Yes, they were into some alternative technology.
Alternative technologies, the esoteric, things of that sort.
Yes.
So basically what they're trying to do is they've discovered that there are alternative worlds, alternative universes.
Okay.
The Nazis have, and the Japanese.
Okay.
And so the Nazis are trying to harness this power, and they're trying to figure out a way to cross into the alternative worlds to be able to conquer them as well.
Why can't they just be happy with the world that we have?
Well, they're Nazis.
What the hell's wrong with those Nazis, dude?
So
Pains in the ass.
I just finished the third season, which is the most recent season.
There's 3 seasons?
Yes.
Oh, man, I got my work cut out for me.
You got to get on it, man.
Yeah.
You're going to get on.
You know what? Sometimes every once in a while, you talk to a friend. I don't have very many friends, but when I do talk to a friend and they recommend a show, I always look at how many shows it's into because I have to start at the beginning, and if it's too much, it's too much.
Okay.
But it's 3 seasons. How many episodes are in
10.
season?
10.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
Maybe I can get
So anyway, they talk about that exclusion principle in this because when you're traveling you can only travel from one world to the other if your double or your person never existed in the other world or
How do you know?
had already passed away.
How do you know?
Well, as you're crossing, I don't want to give away too much. People haven't heard.
Is this like based on the multiverse theory where like every possibility is true someplace?
I don't want to really reveal anymore.
So like I'm married to porn star Katie Morgan in another life,
well,
in another universe.
You'd be more like married to Peter North, more than likely.
I don't know.
You'd be his manservant.
Is he dead?
I don't know.
Manservant.
All right, so I'm going to get into my strange things that people did for fun.
Oh.
And
Why did you mention that? There's like a plug to watch the
to
man
watch
in the
the
high
show.
castle?
To watch the show.
Is there actually a man in a high castle, or is that a hyperbole?
There is a man,
Ooh.
and he lives in random places.
Is he in a high castle?
That's pretty high.
Is he or is it a low castle that has full of marijuana smoke?
Well, that's the thing. It's not high in the physical sense.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So I'm gonna jump all over. I don't have any chronological order.
Why did you stay in order? Like
no, I don't like to.
instructed
I like
you
to jump around the last couple hundred years.
Okay.
So I'm going to talk about something called incubated baby fairs. Have you heard of this?
No.
So before the 20th century, premature babies had very little chance of survival. Obviously,
yes.
medicine wasn't as it is today,
Right.
which, by the way, is still very rudimentary.
Yeah, especially in America, we have a really, really bad birth infant mortality rate for some reason.
People still anyway. I don't want to get into the
bad.
medical.
I don't understand.
Anyway, so that was set to change when a gentleman by the name of Dr. Martin Coney,
Coney, like Coney Island hot dogs?
Cooney or Coney.
Oh.
He invented an incubator basically, but not many people would trust this machine because it was a newfangled thing.
What do you throw your baby in there and turn it on? Like
That's
a microwave
right.
Almost?
So to prevent the death of his invention and convince skeptics, he basically came up with a very strange and crazy solution, and that was he built an exhibit in which premature babies will be put on display at fairs and parks.
What?
Yes.
What?
Well, hold on. So the first exhibit was basically called a child hatchery.
Oh my God!
Yep, it opened in Berlin in 1896.
Those Germans.
And then it soon moved to the United States. So Cooney's exhibit looked like a normal hospital, but he placed babies in wards and employed doctors and nurses to look after them. The only difference was that one side of the ward was glass.
Oh.
And people watched through it.
It's like a zoo.
Apparently,
baby zoo.
The exhibit was very successful, and parents brought their premature babies there. They didn't have to pay for medical care, which was obviously a plus.
Oh, yes.
The customers who went in to watch were charged up to 25 cents for the show.
Yeah, but what kind of show? I mean, what's happening? This is a baby sitting in a box.
Well, most of the babies survived, which was good, but they would walk in, they would see these babies in there, and you can see pictures of it. They're like in these little boxes and things.
What's an incubator do? Is it like warm in there?
Well, it keeps them nice and warm. Filters the air.
I have many children.
You do.
One of my children, unfortunately, had a low temperature upon being born and had to be placed in an incubator. So I'm familiar with it.
That's not good.
But she turned out okay.
She's fine now?
A fighter. Oh yeah.
She's fine?
She's fine.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
That's a baby incubator farm zoo.
Exactly. That's what people did for fun.
That sounds horrible. I wonder if they sold concessions.
And another thing that people in the 19th century did for fun, because they were dumb,
Yeah.
they did something called pedestrianism.
Pedestrianism.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
It was basically competitive walking.
Wow.
And it was a spectator sport, believe it or not.
People used to watch other people walk.
Apparently, it was born out of boredom.
That is boredom.
By people who migrated to cities after the Civil War, and they needed a new form of entertainment.
Really?
Yes, they had these filled arenas. Competitors.
They did it in arenas.
Yes.
Get out of here.
That's right. The competitors would walk around tracks almost nonstop from Monday to Saturday in front of spectators.
I'm here to see Joe Bob Wilson, who's been walking since Thursday.
Sundays were excluded because public amusement was not allowed on that day. It was the Lord's Day.
So did they stop walking on Sunday?
Well, they did. The competitors walked to see who could cover the most distance during the race.
How do they know? They're just walking around in a circle.
I mean, I'm sure the track was marked.
Did you ever lie? You remember like when you were in high school and you used to have to run a mile? Or you used to, well, we talked about the military before, but did you ever lie about how many laps you did or how far you would run?
I always wanted to, when we were doing the 3 mile PFT,
Yes.
right? And you get to the halfway point and have to turn around.
Yes.
I always
turn
wanted
around
to,
early.
Yes. I'd see the fast guy run by me, and I always wanted to turn and run with him.
You know what? I remember a quick story, quick aside. I remember that one time I did see that happen. Most of the time, everyone was too scared to do that because you would literally be killed if you got caught doing that. But one dude I guess he had to go poo real bad, so he ran into the woods and pooed. Instead of continuing along the path, he just went back.
Oh,
and he got caught.
He did.
Yes,
they didn't like that.
No, he had to do it like 2 more times.
You know what pissed me off more than anything? When we were at our MOS school, which is the job that you're going to be trained in.
Yep.
There was a young person in our class. He was a chain smoker.
Oh, yeah.
At like 19 years old, a chain smoker. The kid could run like the wind.
Yeah.
Bambi.
Didn't affect him.
3 miles in like 15 minutes. I'm like, how do you do that?
There were some people. I used to know a guy who used to run extremely fast all the time. He would smoke right before he ran. He would run with a dip in, and then he would smoke upon finishing.
There was a run I took part in. It was called the Turkey Trot, and it was just
Did you have the trots?
It was like a 5K before. It was like around Thanksgiving time.
Hence the name.
So we thought it'd be a good idea, 6 of us, to pound a bunch of beers beforehand.
That's a great idea.
No, it worked, man. I never ran so fast in my life.
Really?
Yeah.
How far was it?
It was like a 5K. What is
Well,
that,
back then
miles?
you could run drunk. You could, not to get too far into the weeds, but I remember, we used to qualify rifle marksmanship once a year, and the common practice was to get loaded the night before because when you're hungover, you're a better shot for some reason.
Oh, I'd be distracted.
No, it's because you don't
I'd
really
have a
care.
headache.
Yeah.
Anyway, so obviously the pedestrianism sport was so popular that celebrities were known to visit the arenas during the event.
I don't understand what they're watching. They're just watching somebody walking.
Remember Chester A. Arthur?
Yeah, he was the president of the
Yeah,
United
he
States.
was.
Yeah.
He was a regular spectator at the
Chester
arena.
A. Arthur. You have to add that. He
So they-
Chester Arthur.
Apparently, there were rivalries among the stars.
Oh.
People would earn a fortune.
Really?
Yes.
Mordecai Three Finger Brown.
So apparently there was one guy, I don't have his name, I forget his name, but apparently there was
Jim.
there was a
Sounds like a Jim.
scandal because they said that he was sucking on coca leaves as he was running
Oh,
to make him go faster.
performance-enhancing drugs. He was doing lines of coke.
Yep. So that was pedestrianism.
I've never heard of that. That's amazing. That people would actually, that's like people watching car races, which I never got that either. Like, yep, there they go. They're going around in circles.
There's probably a lot of NASCAR fans that listen.
And that's fine. I'm not bad.
I'm not disparaging it
No,
either, but I
it's-
just couldn't get into it.
No, and they get like 100,000 people show up for those
Oh,
things.
it's a huge event.
I don't know how you
They put
do
these
that.
headphones on and you can hear the conversations.
I mean, racing the car yourself probably would be a lot of fun. That's it's exciting. You're racing really fast. But watching it, I don't know. I don't know about that.
You don't know?
No.
So another strange 19th century thing, because as I said, people then were dumb. They did something called the Alexandra Limp.
I know a girl named Alexandra. She doesn't listen to the show, so I can make fun of her.
Does she have a limp?
No, not that I know of.
Maybe she should.
No, I like Alex. Hopefully she's listening.
So apparently from the moment she got married to the Prince of Wales, Princess Alexandra of Denmark was beloved by the British public.
Okay.
Because we all know that the British love their royalty.
Yes, they do.
She apparently was the 19th century version of Princess Diana. Poor Princess Diana.
I never thought Princess Diana was good looking. Everybody's like, "Oh, she's so beautiful." I'm like, "No, she's not."
I like Prince Charles.
She's got the 80s short cropped hairdo. Never liked her.
So she was a very popular woman. She was good with people and charities
Animals.
and things of that sort. So apparently after the birth of her third child in 1867, Alexandria, she contracted rheumatic fever.
Ooh, that's the death sentence back in the day.
It left her with a limp.
Oh.
This gave birth to the Alexandra limp.
I have a limp too, but for different reasons.
It was a fad in which women in London and Edinburgh
Edinburgh.
started limping intentionally.
How bored are you going to be like, that's it? I got a pimp limp now.
Got to do the limp.
I got a pimp limp.
Oh, look at me getting a limp
yeah,
on.
baby, I walks with my
let
leg
me
like
get
this. Yeah,
Look, my cane. I got my aquarium high shoes
it's
on.
a pimp limp.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So to make the limp more realistic, apparently women bought mismatched shoes.
nice.
And subsequently, shoemakers began making uneven shoes intentionally.
Oh,
And the
I'm
fad,
sure that everyone's back was all jacked up too as a result.
and they got canes too. The females, they got canes to help them.
I would love to
get
you know
around.
what? You never question somebody with a cane, do you? Never question. There was a funny
Like a hurricane.
Seinfeld bit where they said crutches is a funny story, cane is a sad story. Anyway,
I've been on crutches a few times.
yeah, me too, man. It's no fun.
I was younger. I used to be able to do some sick crutch tricks.
Yeah, you know what? I remember distinctly. I think it was in 6th grade. You broke your leg twice in the same year.
I did.
Yeah, once was after a schoolyard fight where people went barreling into your leg.
That's right.
I remember that.
I had the fat kid named Dickie,
Dickie.
and he fell on top of me, snapped my leg in half.
Well, when you think about it, he's trying to go through life with the name Dickie.
Well, that's the problem. Yeah. What do you think of the limp?
I think limping on purpose is probably a stupid idea. People really had nothing else to do.
I don't think today you could get away with that.
People do it now. Oh, just like people wear glasses with no prescription lens or no lenses at all.
The fashion glasses.
Fashion glasses. It's
Yep.
stupid.
Yep.
I understand that people need glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Most of my family members need glasses. But why would you want to wear them for no reason?
Well, they're trying to make a fashion statement.
Stupid.
You like the big black rimmed glasses?
Horn rimmed.
Hon.
Well, when the women wear the glasses, it's the naughty librarian look, which I'm a big fan of.
I like the girl with the big glasses and the baseball cap look.
Yeah?
I like that.
Baseball.
You know, like a ball cap and glasses
Never. I mean, I know what you're talking
and a
about.
flannel shirt,
You just
and
like dudes.
jeans,
It's okay.
and cowboy boots,
You can come out. It's fine.
and
You're just going into the weeds, man.
sausage. Another thing.
Multiple body parts.
Strange things that people did. Headless portraits.
Headless portraits.
Yes, this started in the early days of photography. A lot of
Photography was so bad.
a lot of bizarre trends happened. Yes, the most strange of these was people were into post-mortem photography.
Oh yeah.
So pictures of dead bodies and stuff. It's
weird.
It obsessed it was people of the Victorian era were obsessed with this sort of thing.
You know how I know that is from watching westerns. Remember how they would display the bodies and you could take a picture with the dead body for like 5 cents or something.
So what people would do, living people would take headless portraits, and what they would do is, apparently, back in 1853, a prominent photographer, his name was Oscar Rayando, or something like that.
It sounds like a hockey name.
It's
Go Riendo!
It's Rajlander. I don't know where the hell he's from, but anyway. So he would mix art and photography, and he would combine the negatives of his pictures, right?
Oh, he would splice them.
Almost like an early Photoshop.
Yep.
And for the lack of a better term, he would Photoshop people's heads off, and he would put them in.
Boy, that sounds like fun.
So you would, for example, it would be a picture of you,
Yep.
standing with no head, but you'd have like a stick, like a staff, and then your head would be on the staff next to
And
you.
people wanted to do this. Why?
That's what they did for fun. They like to.
They would just take a headless picture of themselves.
Yes, they paid big money for this.
That's so dumb.
Why?
What is wrong with people? Paid money for that.
People do strange stuff. People do it now. They take selfies and they put these filters on so they look different than they actually
you
are.
know what? I have not a lot of friends, like I said before, but I have some friends
have no
who
friends.
they love to post pictures of themselves all filtered, and then when you see that person in public, you go,
Yes.
"You don't look like that."
No.
Why are you sending out pictures that look with all filters?
You see them in person, you're like, God, you're ugly.
You are making false advertisements.
Absolutely. It's a trickeration.
Trickeration.
You're tricking people, dude. You can't do that.
What's the point of it? Who are you fooling?
Well, I don't know.
You have to live with yourself.
Well, you know what it is? It's the phenomenon of social acceptance, right? And
Yes.
attention gaining,
Well, yes, it's for attention.
which is what a lot of these selfie Facebook. You get the Facebook selfie people.
You know, the selfies are going down in number, though. I have to say,
I am glad.
people, yeah, it's becoming out of fashion, which is good because I hated that.
You never took a lot of selfies.
No, neither do you.
Thank God you don't.
Not a lot of pictures of me exist.
Well, I have a puffy face, as you said earlier.
you know what's coming down as the show progresses?
Yeah.
It's becoming less and less
Well,
noticeable.
I'm becoming more alert,
Yes.
and the blood flow is going.
Well, the methamphetamine that you just smoked is really helping.
Blood flow. You ever do any blood flow restriction training?
No.
And that's not when you try to choke
I
yourself
was going to
out
say, when you try to choke yourself,
in the midst
I've
of
done that
self-pleasure.
before. Yeah.
Yeah, you've done that?
No.
No, it's this new thing that I've been doing at the gym, right?
Oh, you go to the gym? Why don't
do.
you tell everybody that you go to the gym?
So they have these things. They're
Hard
called
on.
occlusion bands. Have you heard of this?
No. Do you wrap it around your throat?
Well, you could. You might not make it too far. But you get these bands and you put them on.
Look at Jay. He's bench pressing a mountain, and he's like...
You put them on your upper arm,
Uh-huh.
right between your shoulder and your
They're like
bicep.
resistance bands.
No, it's like a tourniquet, and you
What?
you restrict the blood flow.
Why would you do that?
So what you're doing is you're allowing blood to go into your arm, fresh blood, but you're not allowing the old blood to come out of your arm. So the blood pools in your arm, and it creates more of a pump.
That sounds exceedingly dangerous.
And it allows the muscles to retain more nutrients and gives them a.
Please don't.
Once
tell
you do
everyone
it,
to
you
do
take
that.
them off, and your arms are all puffed up. You look great.
Yeah, but that's a temporary thing because then
No.
when the blood goes back into the body,
No, it's not temporary.
that is temporary.
No, because what happens, like any normal bicep workout, you'd get a
Yes.
temporary pump,
Right.
right? The pump is greater, but it allows for bigger muscle gains in the long run if you continue to use it.
I think that sounds very dangerous. I would not recommend doing that.
Well, you keep putting it around your neck. That's the
I
problem.
wouldn't do that either, unless I was home by myself and bored.
I'd have a bottle of jug wine.
Jug wine.
So let's fast forward to
Sounded like a good idea at the time.
the 1950s. Where were you in the 50s?
I was not a twinkle in my daddy's eye.
And you know what? They may even still have these. I don't know, possibly. But they originated in the 50s, and that was ant farms.
Oh yeah,
You remember the ant farm?
You know what? I always wanted one, but I never could figure out how do you get the ants. Like you get to buy you buy the farm, right?
I'm going to tell you. So the guy that invented it in the 50s by the name of Milton Levine or Levine.
Oh, Milton.
I'm not sure. He was a Jewish man from Sheboygan.
Sheboygan, Wisconsin.
The idea came from an army of ants he saw at a picnic during a 4th of July celebration. So apparently Milton found ants captivating, as we all do,
Yeah, ants are cool.
and thought that if he put them in a transparent plastic thingy
Oh, you could see the tunneling.
to look like a farm, people would enjoy observing them. So you could buy Uncle Milton's ant farm.
Oh.
That's what it was called. For like $1.98
That's a pretty good deal.
back in the day.
That's a lot of money back
And it was an instant hit, and thousands of people were ordering this thing. So the ants Milton used were gathered by local ant rustlers.
Oh, imagine that job. Do they have little lassos?
Yep.
And little hats?
They'd go out there to capture these things for a penny each. You get 1 penny per ant that you caught.
A penny an ant. That
So-
sounds like a lot of money.
In order to complete your ant farm, you had to first buy the farm before you ordered any ants.
Is that why they call it buying the farm?
So you get the farm, you get a little mail-in coupon thingy, and then the ants would be delivered in a vial within a few days.
I was going to say, how do they keep the ants alive during shipping?
Well, they stay pretty
They
hard.
probably have laws about that now. You can't ship live animals and
Yep.
insects.
You got a manual with it, a special sand, a liquid dropper, all kinds of stuff.
What happens when the ants escape their confines and then attack you?
Yeah, you want to make sure that it's hermetically sealed.
How do they live in there? Like, what kind of foods do you give them?
Well, they just walk around and eat sand.
This whole thing doesn't sound kosher at all.
So apparently Milton lived to be 97 years old.
Oh.
He sold 20 million ant farms in his lifetime.
20 million.
So I hope he's got some money left over from
He's
that.
dead.
Well, he's dead.
Hopefully
but
his heirs have money.
I wonder if the Levine family is the what do they call it? The Rockefellers of ant farms, apparently.
I'm going to start my own ant farm.
Yeah, what are you going to call it?
Mike's Ant Farm.
Uncle Max
Uncle Mike's Ant Farm. You got to supply your own ants and sand
and farm.
and glass.
You send them an empty box.
Basically, you get air. $50.
Here's another good one from the 50s, because they were dumb then too. Uranium sitting.
What?
Yes.
Uranium sitting.
So in 1953, apparently, a bizarre fad known as uranium sitting was born on a Texas dairy farm.
Oh.
That's right.
What do they do?
Apparently, the owner, a guy by the name of Jesse Reese, claimed his wounded leg healed because he buried it in the soil of his farm, where a group of scientists had recently found traces of uranium.
Okay.
So he had uranium-laced soil on his farm.
What gave him the idea to go burying his leg in the soil?
Well, he believed it had healing properties, healing powers.
He's wrong.
So apparently he was marketing it that they could cure everything from colds to cancer.
So if you run through Chernobyl, would it clear your cold up?
He sold all his cows, and he turned it into uranium dirt house, is what he called it.
Uranium dirt house. That sounds great.
So people
wanna
would
go
come
there.
there. They would bury their sick body parts under the soil.
Oh my god. What if your head was diseased?
Well, you had to put your head in the
put
sand.
your head in the sand.
So apparently several of these uranium dirt houses cropped up in other parts of the state.
My private parts need to be healed. I'm going to bury them.
I'm going to bury my crotchal region in this moist
I'm going to squat on
dirt.
your moist soil.
People paid $20 to do this.
$20?
Yeah, they added trailer camps. So people would come and they'd live there. They had landing strips for people to fly in.
Wow.
That was crazy, huh?
That sounds good. I wonder if what the success rate of healing was.
So apparently, back in '55, a guy named R.E. Height who was his business partner, and a guy named Walter Miller opened a uranium dirt house in Corydon, Texas.
Oh, a competitor.
They leased 1.5 tons of radioactive soil from Jesse.
Oh, They leased the soil.
They did, and they made all these healing promises, but turned out that they didn't. The soil wasn't even radioactive to begin with.
Oh, did you see the recent thing about the Himalayan salt caves? So there's places you can go that are like salt caves, and you pay money, and you like hang around in there.
They have one locally.
Yeah, and you like it's supposed to do some kind of benefit. I don't know what
it's
it
like
is.
you come out of like a piece of salted cod.
It's you're all briny. Come up. I don't know what the benefit is, but you can buy these salt lamps for your house.
Yeah.
And it supposedly is beneficial.
The minerals, supposedly, yeah. So as you can see, even in this current day and age,
you can just make some stuff up, and I almost swore.
There's still a lot of dumb people.
Make some stuff up, and people will buy
that just follow things blindly.
We should start doing that. We should come up with something stupid, and then make a lot of money, and then so we don't have to work anymore.
I've been trying to think of something.
We can think of it.
The problem is I don't have the ambition to follow through with anything.
If you have a great idea for a business and you don't want to do it because you're lazy, send it to us at TheEoNProject. That's TheEon Project at yahoo.com. You can also find us on Twitter at TheEonProject. You can also find us on Instagram. Our Instagram page is blowing up. Lots of new fans.
Lots of them.
People from all over the world love our page.
I think Milton Berle is a fan.
We put funny things on there, mostly funny things. Every once in a while, a serious thing, but not really. So drop us a line. We'd love to hear from you. Whether you like the show, you love the show, you hate the show, whatever your opinion is.
Whatever the case may be.
Yeah, you can also find us on iTunes. Please give us a good rating. It helps us out immeasurably.
We're still collecting reviews for the free guitar. Hello.
You know what? I don't know why people don't want a free custom guitar.
There's something wrong with people, I think.
From 303 Music, our friends at Old 303 Music.
Don't people like free things?
I would if I could win this contest, I would have already done it. I would have already won. Why wouldn't you want a free guitar?
Well, you know why? It takes work.
So just to reiterate, if you go to iTunes and you leave us a review, not just a rating, if you leave us a review on iTunes, after we get to 50 reviews, our friends at Old 303 Music in Bluffton, Indiana, will randomly select one of our reviewers to get a free custom guitar to your specifications.
That's correct.
Worth a lot of money.
Thousands upon thousands of dollars.
Well, maybe not that much,
well,
but
maybe
it's
not.
worth some money. And why you wouldn't want a free guitar, I don't understand.
That's right.
So go to iTunes, leave us a review.
Okay. Anything else to add?
Is that all we wanted? So today we talked about fun things that people did throughout history and weird fun.
I actually had fun with this program.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. It was different.
We like to do different things.
We had a few laughs along the way.
We did have a listener suggestion from a long time ago that we never followed up on. We were going to do a show about words.
Oh, yeah.
What words mean.
What are words?
What are words? I don't know if we.
If you don't know what that means, neither do I.
If we can't fill a whole show with that, I don't know. I don't know if we could fill a show.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But get a hold of us. Drop us a line. Tell us how you feel. If you want to be a guest on the program, you got something fun to talk about, drop us a line. We'd love to have you. And what else?
That's it. Thanks for coming today, Mike.
Oh, hey, you're welcome.
I appreciate it.
All right,
and next week I'll be sure to ice my face before you get here.
I know you're very upset about
so
this.
it's not so puffy.
You're really.
Yeah, it's my early morning puff face.
Really
it's
vain.
fine. It's fine. Okay. Just remember, until next time, the truth exists. Believe it.